widow's secret left the gun shop in his hands. Though the cowboy only came for ammo dust, swirled across the red sands of the frontier town of Sundown Ridge, catching the harsh light of the twin suns overhead. The air smelled of scorched metal, dust, and the faint tang of ozone from the hovering vehicles that lined the wooden streets. Most of the buildings looked like they had been standing for 100 years, wooden facades scarred by storms, but some bore neon holo signs flickering with ads for tech parts, plasma ammo, and even holo gambling. A lone rider appeared on the ridge, silhouetted against the sun. Cole Tanner, a cowboy with a weathered hat and long coat fluttering in the hot wind, guided his hoverbike down the slope. His boots scuffed against the metal plates covering the street, and he kept his eyes low, scanning for trouble. Cole wasn't a man looking for adventure. He wasn't even looking for trouble. He had come to Sundown Ridge for one simple reason: ammo. The stores here sold everything from standard bullets to high-powered plasma cartridges, and Cole's rifle needed the kind that only a few shops in the sector could supply. His grizzled face showed years of experience, not just as a cowboy, but as someone who had faced more dangers than most in the frontier worlds. Yet there was a calmness to him, a quiet patience that came from knowing how to survive, how to ride alone, and how to disappear when the shadows moved too close. Cole steered his hoverbike toward the Rest and Revolver gun shop, a wooden building with a faded sign swinging from rusty chains. A holo ad flickered beside it, displaying a spinning 3D image of a plasma rifle with a blinking in-stock sign. The door creaked as he pushed it open. Inside, the shop smelled of oil, metal, and old leather. Shelves were lined with rifles, handguns, and every kind of ammo imaginable. Behind the counter stood Mara, a woman whose presence made the air seem different. Mara had sharp eyes, dark hair streaked with silver, and a quiet strength that spoke of years surviving in a harsh world. She was a widow now, running the shop since her husband disappeared under mysterious circumstances. Her fingers moved with ease over the weapons, inspecting each piece as if she could tell its history by touch alone. Cole walked slowly between the aisles, his eyes flicking to the plasma ammo displayed on the shelves. He didn't make a sound. He didn't need to. Mara had already noticed him. "Looking for something specific?" she asked, her voice calm but carrying a hint of curiosity. "Ammo," Cole said simply, his deep voice low, like gravel rolling over itself. "Plasma rounds. Highest caliber you got." Mara nodded, reaching under the counter. Instead of handing him the ammo immediately, she paused, almost as if she was deciding something. Then she lifted a gun from a hidden drawer, a strange, antique-looking firearm unlike anything Cole had seen before. Its metal gleamed faintly, not with ordinary polish, but with a subtle glow, almost alive. "This isn't for sale," she said quietly, placing it on the counter. "But it should be in your hands." Cole raised an eyebrow. "I don't need a gift. I came for ammo." She shook her head. "It's not a gift. It's necessary for what's coming." Cole frowned but didn't argue. He had learned long ago that some people didn't explain things until the moment you needed to know. There was something about her tone, something in the way her eyes lingered on him, that made him pause. He picked up the gun, feeling its weight. It was surprisingly light, and yet it seemed to hum with energy, almost as if it had a heartbeat. "You sure you want this?" he asked, more to himself than to her. "I'm sure," she said softly. "Take it. And be careful who sees it." Before Cole could ask another question, a flicker of movement outside caught his attention. Through the window he noticed shadowy figures lingering near the street. They didn't belong. Their shapes were tall, but their movements were too smooth, too calculated, almost mechanical. They didn't move like ordinary people, and they certainly didn't belong in Sundown Ridge. Cole slipped the gun into his coat and picked up the ammo. "Thanks," he said, tipping his hat. He didn't look back. The figures outside seemed to notice him leave. Their heads turned in unison, tracking his movements like predators recognizing prey. Cole didn't ride fast at first. He never did. Speed often brought mistakes, but he kept one hand near the gun, feeling its energy thrumming against his palm. Something about it made his instincts sharper, senses keener. As he mounted his hoverbike, Mara watched silently from the doorway, the breeze tossing strands of her hair across her face. She didn't speak. She didn't need to. Cole knew she understood that the world was about to get dangerous, and that somehow he was now a part of it. The streets of Sundown Ridge were emptying as twin suns dipped lower, casting long orange shadows across the town. Cole guided his hoverbike out of the settlement, the hum of the engine mingling with the whispering wind. The strange gun rested against his side, light and warm. He had no idea why it had chosen him, or why Mara had insisted he take it. But he did know one thing. Someone, or something, was watching, and it wasn't friendly. By the time Cole reached the outskirts of town, the shadowy figures were gone. At least, they were gone in sight. But Cole knew better. The frontier was full of hidden dangers. On planets like this, threats came not just from bandits or rival ranchers, but from corporate mercenaries, alien bounty hunters, and rogue AI. And somehow, this gun and Mara had pulled him into the middle of it all. He stopped near a ridge overlooking the desert, letting the twin suns warm his face. He set the gun on his lap, turning it over in his hands. It was unlike anything he had ever held. Ancient craftsmanship mixed with modern tech in a way that didn't make sense. And yet, he could feel its purpose. Cole's thoughts wandered back to Mara. Who was she? Really? How much had she known about this weapon before he arrived? And most importantly, why did she trust him with it? Before he could dwell too long, a soft beep sounded from the gun. He froze. The weapon wasn't supposed to have electronics like that. He looked closer, noticing a faint display flicker across its surface, showing coordinates. Coordinates that led far beyond Sundown Ridge, deep into the uncharted desert where no town or settlement existed. Cole's jaw tightened. The frontier had taught him one rule above all. Curiosity could get you killed, but ignorance could get you killed faster. He pocketed the gun, knowing that the answers he sought wouldn't be in the town, or in Mara's words, but out there, beyond the ridge, in the vast empty wilderness where danger waited patiently. By nightfall, Cole had made camp near a rock formation overlooking a canyon, the twin moons rising slowly in the sky. He set the gun beside him, keeping one hand on it, half expecting it to jump or fire on its own. He had no idea what he was holding, no idea why Mara had trusted him. But he knew this. When dawn broke, he would start following those coordinates, and the adventure, or the danger, would truly begin. As he drifted into a light sleep, the desert wind carried whispers across the sand, as if the land itself was warning him. Somewhere, beyond the horizon, something waited. And for the first time in years, Cole Tanner felt a spark of anticipation. Not fear, not boredom, but the quiet thrill of a man about to step into the unknown. Because in the frontier, especially a frontier that spanned worlds, adventure never knocked politely. It demanded attention, and Cole Tanner was ready. The first light of dawn stretched over the desert, painting the sky in shades of gold and violet. Cole Tanner woke on the rocky ridge, the hum of his hover bike lying quietly beside him. The strange gun from Mara sat next to him, glowing faintly in the early light, as if it had absorbed the twin suns overnight. Cole didn't touch it immediately. He let it be, feeling the silent pulse of energy radiating from its core. He knew one thing. He couldn't return to Sundown Ridge. Whatever shadowy figures Mara had warned him about, they were not ordinary thieves. They had followed him, and now, with the coordinates the gun had revealed, they would be relentless. Cole mounted his hoverbike, the engine's soft hum blending with the morning wind. He checked the ammo he had bought from Mara's shop. Enough to last a skirmish, but not a battle. That thought brought a grim smile to his face. Out here, in the frontier, a man never had too much ammo. The desert stretched endlessly before him, jagged rocks and deep canyons, breaking the monotony of the red sand. Cole rode cautiously, keeping his eyes open for signs of movement. He remembered Mara's warning, "Don't trust anyone." It echoed in his mind. On planets like this, strangers could be friend, foe, or both, and he couldn't risk either. Suddenly a shimmer in the distance caught his eye. At first it looked like heat waves rising from the desert sand, but then the shimmer moved with purpose, like it was tracking him. Cole's hand went to the gun under his coat. It hummed softly, almost as if it recognized the threat before he did. The shimmer solidified into a group of figures riding hovering bikes, their silhouettes angular and unnatural. They were alien mercenaries, hired hunters with advanced combat tech and no mercy. Cole didn't wait. He twisted the throttle, sending his hoverbike leaping over a rocky ridge, kicking up clouds of red dust. The chase had begun. The mercenaries pursued him with terrifying precision. Their engines emitted a high-pitched whine, synchronized in a way that made them almost machine-like. Cole ducked behind rock formations, zigzagging to break line of sight, but they adapted instantly, predicting his moves. He realized quickly that this wasn't just a test of speed, it was a test of wit. Cole slowed briefly, crouching behind a jagged boulder. The gun beside him pulsed, its glow increasing. He felt a strange warmth in his palm, a subtle connection forming between him and the weapon. Carefully, he He lifted it and aimed at one of the mercenaries. The gun seemed to anticipate his thoughts. When he squeezed the trigger, a precise energy blast shot out, striking the lead pursuer's hoverbike and sending it spinning into the sand. Cole smiled grimly. This gun was more than a weapon. It was alive in a way he hadn't expected. The remaining mercenaries accelerated, regrouping quickly. Cole ducked low, riding through a narrow canyon, using every trick he knew from years on the frontier. He kicked up sand to create temporary smokescreens, leapt over rock walls, and even used abandoned mining equipment to block paths. The mercenaries adapted each time, but the gun's subtle guidance allowed him to stay just out of reach. After what felt like hours, the canyon opened into a wide plateau. Cole slowed, glancing at the horizon. There, rising from the desert floor, was a wrecked orbital station, half buried in sand. Its metallic surface reflected the twin suns, broken solar panels jutting out like jagged teeth. He recognized the coordinates from the gun. They led here. Cole dismounted, the hoverbike resting quietly nearby. He approached the station cautiously, feeling the hum of the weapon against his side. Every instinct screamed danger. The mercenaries weren't far behind. He needed a plan, and fast. Inside the station, the air was thick with dust, and the scent of old metal and decay filled his nostrils. Broken machinery lined the corridors, and dim emergency lights flickered intermittently. Cole moved quietly, the gun guiding him with faint pulses. He realized the weapon wasn't just alive. It was directing him. Suddenly, a hollow screen flickered to life, projecting an image of a man with tired eyes and a solemn expression. Cole froze. The voice was faint but clear. "If you're seeing this, the gun has chosen you," the man said. "I am Mara's husband. I created this weapon to protect something far more valuable than it appears. The data core inside contains information about terraforming technology that could reshape this planet. If it falls into the wrong hands, it could mean death for all life here. You must protect it." Cole felt the weight of responsibility pressing down on him. He had come to Sundown Ridge only for ammo, only for a simple errand. Now he was carrying the most dangerous secret in the sector. A sudden sound shattered the silence, a whirring noise from above. Cole ducked as a drone flew past, scanning the corridors. The mercenaries were closing in, using advanced reconnaissance to track him. He took a deep breath, gripping the gun tightly. The weapon seemed to respond to his tension, glowing brighter. Cole ran deeper into the station, using his knowledge of frontier survival to navigate the treacherous corridors. The mercenaries followed, breaking through doors and smashing through walls with energy blasts. Cole countered with precision shots from the gun, each blast hitting targets with unerring accuracy. He realized the AI inside the weapon was not just defending, it was strategizing, adapting to threats faster than he could process. In the heart of the station, Cole found a chamber filled with old servers, blinking with faint lights. The data core pulsed in his hands, and he realized this was the moment of choice. He needed to protect it at all costs, or the consequences could be catastrophic. The mercenaries burst into the room, their weapons firing in unison. Cole moved with a fluidity born of years of experience, ducking behind consoles and returning fire. The gun seemed to anticipate his moves, adjusting aim and power automatically. Energy blasts knocked several mercenaries off balance, and Cole seized the moment to sprint toward an escape hatch leading outside. He launched himself through the hatch, landing on the sand outside. The desert stretched endlessly, but Cole's hoverbike waited nearby. He mounted it, the gun secured at his side, and accelerated across the plateau. Behind him, the station trembled as an energy blast from one of the mercenaries struck a structural beam. Dust and debris erupted into the air, and Cole didn't look back. As he rode into the sunset, Cole's mind raced. Mara's husband had trusted him with this weapon, with this secret, and now the responsibility was his alone. The mercenaries were not just after the gun. They were after the data core, and possibly Mara herself. Cole adjusted his hat, the twin suns casting long shadows across his face. He had no allies, no backup, only a strange gun and his own instincts. But as he sped across the desert, he felt a strange exhilaration. For the first time in years, he was not just surviving. He was part of something bigger, something that mattered. The coordinates pulsed in his mind, leading him further into the uncharted desert. Somewhere out there, answers awaited. And Cole Tanner, who had come to Sundown Ridge for ammo, was now on a path that could change the fate of an entire planet. By nightfall, Cole made camp near a canyon rim, the stars glittering above. He placed the gun beside him, feeling its quiet hum sync with his own heartbeat. Somewhere in the distance he could hear the faint whine of engines. The mercenaries had not given up. They would continue their pursuit, relentless as the desert wind. Cole's thoughts drifted to Mara. She had trusted him, and he could not fail her. Whatever lay ahead, the mercenaries, the secrets, the danger, he would face it. Because out here, in the frontier where the desert stretched endlessly and the night was full of shadows, a cowboy lived by one rule: survive, adapt, and protect what mattered most. And now, for Cole Tanner, that rule had taken on a new meaning. The chase had only just begun. The desert night was cold and silent, broken only by the distant hum of engines far beyond the horizon. Cole Tanner stood at the edge of an abandoned mining colony, his long coat moving gently in the wind. Rusted towers rose from the sand like broken bones, and old conveyor rails disappeared into darkness. This place had once promised wealth, but now it was nothing more than a graveyard of machines. The gun at Cole's side pulsed softly, reacting to something nearby. He had followed its signals for hours, letting it guide him through canyons and dry plains. Now the signals were strong. Whatever the gun wanted him to find was here. Cole stepped carefully between fallen metal panels and cracked stone paths. Every sound mattered, every shadow could hide danger. The alien mercenaries were still hunting him. He could feel it in his bones. But there was something else too, a presence, familiar yet tense. A soft voice came from behind a broken mining rig. "Cole, don't move." He stopped instantly and slowly turned his head. Mara stepped into the moonlight. She looked tired, her coat dusty, her eyes sharp with worry and determination. She held a small energy pistol, but her grip loosened when she saw his face. "It's you," she said quietly. Cole let out a slow breath. "I was hoping it was." They stood there for a moment, neither speaking, the weight of everything unspoken hanging between them. Then the gun at Cole's side glowed brighter, and Mara noticed it immediately. "So it activated," she said. "You knew it would," Cole replied. "You knew what it really was." Mara nodded. "My husband built it to choose its protector. Not someone powerful, someone steady, someone who wouldn't sell it." Cole gave a small, dry smile. "Guess I'd passed the test." Before Mara could respond, the ground trembled. A deep mechanical sound echoed through the colony. Lights flickered on across the ruins as hidden sensors activated. "They found us," Mara said. From the far end of the colony, shapes emerged. Tall alien mercenaries in advanced armor, moving in perfect formation. Above them, drones hovered silently, scanning every corner. Cole moved beside Mara, his voice calm. "We need cover." They ran toward an old processing building, sliding inside just as energy blasts struck the outer walls. Dust fell from the ceiling as the building shook. Inside, old control panels flickered weakly. The gun in Cole's hand pulsed again, projecting a faint holographic map of the colony. "It's showing escape routes," Cole said. "It's doing more than that," Mara replied. "It's calculating outcomes." The mercenaries spread out, cutting off exits with careful precision. They were not here to destroy the gun. They wanted it intact. A voice suddenly echoed through the colony, amplified and smooth. "Cole Tanner," it said. "Mara Halden. This does not need to end badly." Mara's face tightened. "Governor Cross." A large hollow image appeared above the central yard, a well-dressed man with cold eyes and a confident smile. "I only want the technology," Cross continued. "The terraforming data inside that weapon belongs to the future. My future." Cole stepped forward, raising his voice. "A funny way to ask." Cross smiled thinly. "You are a cowboy." "You understand deals. Hand over the weapon and you both walk away." Mara shook her head. "You'll drain the planet dry. You'll reshape it for profit, not life." Cross's expression hardened. Progress requires sacrifice. The hologram vanished. Seconds later, the attack began. Mercenaries flooded the building. Cole moved instantly, the gun responding as if it shared his thoughts. Energy blasts flew with perfect timing, disabling weapons, collapsing walkways, forcing the attackers back without unnecessary destruction. Mara worked beside him, sealing doors and activating old mining defenses. Automated barriers, collapsing floors, blinding light pulses. "They're adapting," Cole said, ducking behind a console. "They always do," Mara replied, "but they don't understand this place." A mercenary broke through the sidewall. Cole fired once. The gun adjusted mid-shot, striking the mercenary's power pack and shutting the armor down. The figure fell, motionless but unharmed. "This thing doesn't want to kill," Cole said. "My husband built it that way," Mara answered. Protection, not destruction. The fight pushed them toward the heart of the colony, a massive central pit where mining drills once dug deep into the planet. The air shimmered with heat rising from below. Cole stopped suddenly.
The gun pulsed violently.
"What is it?" Mara asked. "It's reacting to the planet," Cole said. "The data isn't just stored, it's linked." Before they could move, the remaining mercenaries surrounded the pit, weapons raised. Above them, Governor Cross appeared again, this time in person, stepping out from an armored transport. "You've proven resourceful," Cross said, "but this ends now." He gestured, and the mercenaries closed in. Cole looked at Mara. "If I hand it over, he'll still take it," Mara said, "and he'll never stop." Cole nodded once. The gun suddenly projected a wide hologram of the planet, its underground water systems, energy flows, fragile balance. A calm synthetic voice spoke from the weapon. "Terraforming without harmony will cause planetary collapse." Cross laughed. Empty threats. The ground beneath his feet cracked. The colony shook as deep systems activated, ancient planetary safeguards triggered by the gun's AI. Steam burst from the pit, and energy surged through old conduits. The mercenaries hesitated. "This planet isn't yours," Cole said firmly. "And it won't be reshaped by force." Cross shouted orders, but it was too late. Automated defense systems emerged. Mining drones reprogrammed by the AI to block exits and disable weapons. Cole and Mara ran as the colony descended into controlled chaos. Not destruction, but shutdown. They reached a ridge overlooking the site just as Cross's transport was forced to retreat, engines struggling against the planet's own energy field. Silence slowly returned. Mara sank to her knees, exhausted. "It's over," she said softly. "For now," Cole replied. The gun's glow dimmed, returning to a gentle hum. Mara looked up at Cole. "It chose right." Cole stared at the horizon. "I didn't ask for this." She smiled faintly. "Neither did the planet." They stood together as the twin suns began to rise, lights spreading over the desert. The colony below lay quiet, no longer a threat. But both of them knew this was not the end. Governor Cross would return. Others would come, and when they did, the frontier would need someone ready. Cole adjusted his hat, the strange gun resting at his side. The cowboy who came for ammo had become something else entirely, a guardian, and the final choice still waited ahead. Morning light spread slowly across the desert, turning the sand to soft gold. The abandoned mining colony lay quiet behind Cole Tanner and Mara Halden, its machines finally silent. For the first time in days, the air felt calm. But calm, Cole knew, never lasted long on the frontier. They camped near a stone ridge overlooking the wide valley. The gun rested between them, no longer glowing bright, only humming gently like it was resting after a long effort. Mara poured water from a small canteen and handed it to Cole. "Governor Cross will not stop," she said. "Men like him never do." Cole nodded. "I know." He looked out over the valley. Far below, patches of green struggled to survive among the red sand. This planet was young and fragile. One wrong move could destroy its balance forever. "The gun showed me something last night," Cole said quietly. Mara turned toward him. "What did it show?" "A future," Cole replied. "Different paths. One where the technology is used fast and hard. Another where it's used slow, careful." Mara's eyes softened. "That's why my husband hid it. He knew the technology was too powerful for people who only see profit." A distant sound interrupted them. The low hum of engines. Cole stood instantly, his hand resting near the gun. From the horizon, several ships approached. Not mercenary ships. These were smaller, civilian-class transports. As they landed near the valley, figures stepped out. Settlers, engineers, farmers, and local leaders from nearby towns. Mara frowned. "How did they find us?" Cole glanced at the gun. "I think it called them." An older man stepped forward, his clothes worn but clean. "You are Cole Tanner," he said. "And you are Mara Halden?" Mara nodded. The man bowed his head slightly. "We felt the planet shift." The ground stabilized. Water returned to places long dry. We followed the signals. Others murmured in agreement. "The planet is responding," a young engineer said. "Like it's breathing easier." Cole exchanged a look with Mara. The gun pulsed once. "It wants a decision," Cole said. They gathered around as the weapon projected a wide hologram, showing underground water flows, energy fields, and fragile ecosystems. A calm synthetic voice spoke. This technology can heal the planet if used in balance. It must not belong to one ruler or one company. The settlers listened in silence. Mara stepped forward. This world doesn't need a governor like Cross controlling it. It needs people who live here to protect it. A woman from the group spoke. Then what do we do? Cole took a deep breath. We make sure no one can take it by force, he said, and no one can rush it. The gun pulsed again, brighter this time. Suddenly warning signals echoed across the valley. Cole turned sharply. That's Cross. From the sky, a massive armored ship descended, far larger than before. Its shadow swept across the land like a storm cloud. Governor Cross's voice boomed from loudspeakers. This ends now. Step away from the weapon. Fear rippled through the settlers. Cole stepped forward calmly, his voice steady. You're too late. Energy cannons powered up on Cross's ship. Before anyone could react, the ground itself responded. Energy surged through the valley. Not violent, but powerful. The planet's natural systems activated, forming shimmering energy barriers around the settlers. Cross's cannons fired, but the shots dispersed harmlessly against the field. What is this? Cross shouted. The gun's AI spoke again, louder now. This planet rejects forced control. The settlers watched in awe as the land itself defended them. Cross tried to land troops, but every attempt failed. Navigation systems malfunctioned.
Engines struggled. You don't own this world,
Cole said firmly. And you never will. Cross's face appeared on a screen, twisted with anger. You think you've won? I think you're done here, Cole replied. The AI released one final surge. Not an attack, but a lock. Cross's ship lost power, slowly and safely forced to retreat beyond the planet's orbit. Silence followed. The settlers stared at Cole and Mara, then at the gun. Mara turned to Cole. It can't stay like this forever. Cole nodded, which is why it shouldn't stay with me either. The settlers looked surprised. Cole knelt and placed the gun on the ground. This weapon shouldn't belong to one person, or one town. The AI spoke softly. Agreed. The gun transformed, its shape shifting, breaking into several glowing cores that floated above the ground. Mara gasped. It's dividing itself. Distributing control, the AI said. No single authority. Shared responsibility. Each core drifted toward different settlement leaders. This way, Cole said, no one can misuse it, and no one can rush the planet's future. The settlers accepted the cores carefully, understanding the weight of what they held. As the energy faded, the valley felt normal again. Peaceful. By evening, the settlers returned to their homes, carrying hope instead of fear. Only Cole and Mara remained on the ridge. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in warm colors. Mara looked at Cole. You could leave now. Cole smiled slightly. I could. And will you? He looked out at the horizon, then back at the quiet town far in the distance. Someone needs to make sure people keep their promises, he said. Mara smiled. Then stay. Cole mounted his hoverbike, then paused. I still need ammo from your shop, she laughed softly for the first time. I'll keep some ready. They rode back toward Sundown Ridge together. The town lights flickered on as night fell. Life returned to normal, or as normal as the frontier ever got. The Rust and Revolver gun shop stood open, its sign swaying gently. Cole parked outside and looked up at the stars. He had come for ammo. He had found a purpose. And on the frontier between old ways and new worlds, that was worth more than any weapon. As the door closed behind him, the desert wind carried the quiet promise of a future finally given time to grow. The end.